My name is Nagamil. I am 34 years old. And on July 23, 2023, I committed what my family later called the ultimate betrayal. That morning, I walked toward a Protestant church as a devout Muslim, filled with pride, anger, and certainty. I believed I was right. I believed I was strong. I believed I was defending my faith. I never imagined that I would leave that sidewalk broken, weeping, and changed forever. What happened that day took only a few seconds. But those seconds destroyed my old life and gave me a new one. I was raised in a strict Muslim home. Islam was not just something we believed. It was who we were. It was our culture, our identity, our pride. From as far back as I can remember, my life revolved around prayer. 5 times a day. Every single day. No excuses. My father taught me that a real Muslim never compromises, never backs down, never questions, never bends. He taught me that Islam was the final truth, and that everything else was false. The Quran was our guide. Quran. Muhammad was the final prophet. Muhammad. And Allah was the only God I had ever known. Prayer in our house was not optional. It was expected. It was demanded. I remember watching my father lay out his prayer mat with deep seriousness. I watched him perform wudu, washing his hands, face, and feet with careful precision. Every movement mattered. Every word mattered. And I absorbed it all. I believed with my whole heart that this was the only path to God. By the time I was a teenager, Islam had become my entire worldview. I fasted during Ramadan with passion. I learned Arabic, so I could read the Quran in its original language. I memorized verses. I studied hadith. I debated religion with confidence. And I felt superior, especially when it came to Christianity. To me, Christianity made no sense. How could God have a son? How could Jesus be divine? How could God die? The Trinity seemed illogical. The crucifixion seemed like failure, not victory. In my mind, Christians had corrupted the truth, and Islam had restored it. This wasn't just belief. It was identity. I was Nagamil the Muslim. Nagamil the faithful. Nagamil who would never compromise. In March 2023, I moved into a new apartment. I didn't realize what I was getting into. Across the street stood a large Protestant church. Tall steeple. Huge cross. Loud bells. Every Sunday morning at exactly 9 a.m., those bells rang. And I hated them. They interrupted my far prayer. They broke my concentration. They felt disrespectful. Week after week, my frustration grew. I watched Christians walk into that church smiling, laughing, confident. Families, children, elderly couples. They looked comfortable, visible, at home. And something inside me started to burn. Why did they get to be so visible? Why did their faith dominate everything? I felt like Muslims had to explain ourselves, defend ourselves, justify ourselves. And I grew angry. One night after prayers at the mosque, I was venting to some brothers. One of them said something that stuck with me. If you don't stand up for Islam, who will? That question followed me home. Lying in bed, an idea came to me. I would pray outside the church during their Sunday service. Right at the entrance. On the sidewalk. Not to attack, I told myself. Just to show that Muslims exist. That our faith deserves visibility. I convinced myself this was noble. Righteous. Brave. I even researched my legal rights. The First Amendment. Public sidewalks. Religious freedom. I rehearsed what I would say if confronted. I felt like a soldier preparing for battle. I arrived at the church at 8:30 a.m. The morning was beautiful. Clear sky. Gentle breeze. I unrolled my prayer mat carefully. Checked my compass. Aligned it perfectly toward Mecca. People noticed me immediately. Some stared. Some whispered. Some looked uncomfortable. And I liked it. At 8:45, I performed wudu right there on the sidewalk. Then I began praying. I recited aloud. Allahu Akbar. I bowed. I prostrated. People walked around me. An elderly woman gently asked if I was okay. I ignored her. After my prayer, I didn't leave. I sat down and opened my Quran. By 9 o'clock, the church was full. Then the pastor arrived. He watched me with concern, not anger. Later, a church leader came out and spoke to me kindly. He said, "This feels like it's meant to provoke." His gentleness confused me. I decided to stay longer, to pray again at noon. That decision changed everything. At 12:15 p.m., I began my second prayer. I bowed. I prostrated. Then the sky began to darken. It happened fast. The air grew cold. People gasped. I looked up. Dark storm clouds had appeared from nowhere. Then suddenly, a brilliant white light broke through the clouds. Not scattered light. Focused light. Like a spotlight. It struck the church cross. Christian cross. The cross began to glow. Wind exploded around me. My prayer mat flapped violently. And then I felt it. Not fear. Love. Overwhelming, crushing, undeniable love. Love that knew everything about me. Every sin. Every prideful thought. And loved me anyway. I collapsed. My body shook uncontrollably. Tears poured from my eyes. I knew, without doubt, that Jesus Christ was real. Jesus Christ. Not a prophet. Not a teacher. God. I ripped the prayer cap from my head. I fell forward, sobbing. My old identity shattered. People rushed to me. The pastor knelt beside me and asked if I was okay. I asked, "Did you see the light?" They hadn't. The sky was normal again. But I knew what I had seen. They took me inside the church. For the first time in my life, I walked into a Christian church, not as an enemy, but as a broken man. They cared for me. They showed compassion. No anger. No judgment. Only love. I read the Bible that night. The Gospel of John changed everything. Gospel of John. 2 weeks later, I surrendered my life to Jesus. I was baptized. My family rejected me. My father disowned me. My community cut me off. I lost everything. But I gained peace. I gained freedom. I gained truth. Today, I serve in the same church where I once came to provoke. I share my testimony so others know this truth. Jesus meets people where they are, even in rebellion, even in pride, even in anger. If he could reach me, he can reach anyone. My name is Nagamil. I lost my old life, but I found Jesus, and he is worth everything.